Hello, everybody. It's Laura Eisenhower, and we are in this incredible eclipse window. We started with the July 12th solar eclipse, partial solar eclipse in Cancer, which helped us to kind of look at where our emotional attachments that aren't healthy kind of reside, whether that's addictions, whether it's neediness towards a person or a partner, whether it's an attachment to an outcome related to work, family, relationships. Attachments. Some, as we know, aren't healthy, and some belief systems we have can also be attachments that aren't healthy, and so can really dredge up a lot of emotional energy, sometimes even the resistance to let go, because emotions can bring us into that feeling of security, even if it's not fully positive, like a security blanket. And sometimes it's difficult just to move on, but events usually happen during the eclipses that almost forces us to, whether that's a crisis we create, whether that's a breakdown we have, whether it's a new epiphany that comes in. And that's going to be more and more of the case as we move towards the lunar eclipse on the 27th. The power of it's going to be very much the 26th and 27th, and it's going to be in the sign of Aquarius. And this is going to be really powerful. Gosh, I'm sure everybody's already feeling the intensity because we are in this window. The power of it is so intense, it lasts for about 6 months. So the kind of breakthroughs that are happening are going to last. And again, when something feels like a misfortune or something that is less than favorable, we really need to step back, take a breath, and check our perceptions about it. Because really, we feed situations our beliefs that can actually create the conditions that we don't want. If we resist change, or if change happens and we don't like it and we keep feeding it that resentment, then it is going to end up being something that we stew in and something we feel stuck in for quite some time. But if we feed it trust, when we feed it love, when we feed it wisdom, and when we become co-creative instead of at the mercy of it, then anything that happens we can turn into something wonderful. So the thing is, as these cycles happen, what we choose to hold on to is going to start to anchor it and ground it. And so while things are kind of unformed during this window, we want to be very careful with the way we perceive the events that are unfolding. Oh, yes, breathe. So yeah, I'm feeling it all too. And so it's funny to do a video about it while I'm in the thick of it. But I can already feel things lightening up, things drastically changing. Yesterday, I was feeling really stuck because it was like, gosh, if certain changes don't happen, I don't even know what they are. I don't know what I'm going to do. And some changes have happened for the better, and I hope that's happening for everybody. But I'm not counting on it. I'm trying not to get attached to anything. I want to be as flexible and as adaptable as possible and keep feeding good energy into the situations, even the less than favorable situations, which, again, for all of us, can be incredibly challenging. There might be somebody in our life we're worried about, or a situation we're concerned about that's not changing in the way that we'd like to see it change. Maybe it's even getting worse. But again, we are alchemists. We can work with the energy. We're not stuck with whatever just comes to us. We can morph it into something that works, which is kind of what I talked about before with the Saturn component. So as we move closer to this lunar eclipse, July 26th and 27th, some sources are saying this is a great time to just kind of bury your head and hide under the blankets. Maybe it's high octane. It's like being on a bunch of, it's like, a full moon on steroids. It's like having a lot of, like too much coffee, which I often sound like I have, even though I don't really drink that much coffee. So the intensity is going to be really strong because of the component of Mars and the Uranian energy as well. So that sometimes can cause aggression. We might feel very reactionary. What we're doing is we're still letting go of things that we needed to let go of around the new moon. So if we didn't make huge headway, then we're still holding a lot onto a lot of stuff that needs to go, and we feel like it's being ripped away from us too quickly, then we might freak out. Or if there's certain things that we know that we need to change, that we're trying to implement, that we haven't really put a lot of attention on before, we might feel this surge in order to make it happen, like in order to either cut ties, create breakthroughs, make statements that we feel like we need to share with others. And it can be like pretty intense. So we want to be really careful not to rock the boat too much and to get our message across with calmness. And fortunately, Saturn's going to play a role. It'll probably help keep things pretty grounded. But, it's like a big emotional release. So it's not necessarily going to be pretty or smooth. There might be a lot of tears. There might be, anger and rage. The whole deal is, though, how can we prepare? How can we channel that energy? Can we get away from certain people these 2 days, the 26th and 27th? I mean, right before this eclipse hits, Mercury is going to go into retrograde. And so after the fact of the eclipse, we're going to probably be processing it for a long time. It's not to say that something totally significant is going to happen, but leading up to it and around it and soon after, it's a whole kind of progression of change. So we're going to be in big processes with Mercury in retrograde. Jupiter recently went direct, though, so we may feel as we're processing, things are moving forward as far as expansion, things falling into place that feel like good fortune, or, oh gosh, this is really good news. We might be processing just how we're going to manage our time, how we're going to, put our best foot forward. So it doesn't look like a Mercury retrograde that's going to necessarily kick our butt. It might just be how we're processing this level of change that's taking place. And fortunately, Jupiter should supply us with a lot of positive energy, which gives me the inclination that the change is going to be good for all of us. I mean, look what's going on the planet. The Gaia thing just imploded. Lots is getting revealed that I don't think we expected to see it be revealed, like in a disclosure community or platform. So I think that plays a huge part in the next step that we're all taking when it comes to things like disclosure. When it comes to ascension energies, I mean, everything that wants us to ascend is encoded in nature and the cosmos anyway. So how we work with those energies and how we integrate them is going to be a little bit different than what plays out on the world stage, because that's filled with different scenarios, different, kind of attempts to steer us off course and disrupt the flow. So I'm going to take a little pause and have some water, and let's see if pausing this and playing it again. I don't even want to take the risk and have to re-record. I'm not the most technologically inclined person. But let's just look at this week, though. If you get this before Wednesday, we have the Sun square Uranus on Wednesday. I don't think you're going to get it before Wednesday, but expect that the Sun square Uranus. Squared aspects always mean challenge. Uranus means shock and upheaval. So the Sun moving into Leo recently, there might be shock connected to something that's Leo related. Leo rules things like recreation, art, music, even children. So hopefully it's not anything shocking connected to our kids. I personally would not be able to stand that because I've had enough sort of shocks and upheavals. Maybe it's good shock. Maybe it's just a change. Maybe it's, hey, Mom, I'm ready to go move to this place or go do this. I don't know. Everybody's got their own personal thing. That's why I like doing the 10-minute sessions. How are these things impacting you? And even if you can't get in this week or next week, if you need to write me a letter, if you need to post in the group Cosmic Gaia on Facebook and start to bring some of what you're going through in, I will be sure to check it and make sure that you get some feedback. So that's the great thing about creating this group. I don't know if you can find it without me sending you a link. So if you get this through the newsletter and you want to join the page and you need the link, just send me an email. That's laurabe4@gmail.com. So a lot of disruption on Wednesday. But again, I'm having a feeling that things for a lot of people are going to move forward more in kind of a breakthrough type thing. And if it's not and it feels like a breakdown, it's a blessing. Something needs to go. Something needs to remove itself. And it's our perception that's going to make it a negative thing or a positive thing. Because everything positive and negative is a part of our greater growth. Sometimes we need the difficult challenges and the negativities in order to step into our divinity. Sometimes when things are going too well, we can take it for granted and get a little full of ourselves. So our perception about everything is going to make the hugest difference. And that's where the attachments of that solar eclipse comes in, of Cancer. Cancer is ruled by the moon. What are our attachments? I mean, the moon connects us with our mother, and then we think of the attachment to our mother and the, kind of like, I won't go into all that, but I think we know how emotions can be. If we have emotional wounds from our childhood, we might still seek things for security that aren't positive. Cigarettes, addictions, alcohol, maybe smoking too much medical marijuana, maybe resisting your greater purpose and wanting to play small, or holding on to friends that aren't healthy, toxic relationships even. It's the things that we might get stuck in that prevent us from moving forward. If we have more of a positive relationship with our lunar energy, we might just feel like the nurturer. We might notice where we give too much or allow other people to kind of attach themselves too much. So it might be other people's attachments to us that we're working with. But Uranus in the Aquarian energy of July 26th, 27th, mostly 27th, is liberation. So it's really important we ground our intentions and set our intentions and begin to look at what we'd like to see happen in the next 6 months or so. I recommend working with the tool that I created. I've sent it to a lot of clients. More than likely, I'm going to post it on the group page so that, you know, if it resonates with people, you can utilize it and fine tune your creative energies so that you can consciously let go of the attachments without them being ripped away uncomfortably, or if they do get ripped away uncomfortably because you are unconscious to what needs to go, you can kind of process through it with a tool. And then it'll help you to plant seeds and determine what's important for the next 6 months ahead. But remember, Uranus is about, and the Aquarian energy is about shock and upheaval. And it's the type of stuff that leads to great awakening. So be willing to let go of things your ego might not be willing to let go of, even your emotional body. Be willing to embrace something that's better, that's coming in, but be a part of the co-creative process too, and share with the universe what your ideas are, what you would like to see. Ultimately, we all want inner peace. We all want happiness in our relationships. We all want health and well-being. We all want abundance. So we might just want to focus in on those principles and not let the anxieties get the best of us, because Uranus also rules things like anxiety and PTSD and the kind of shock and upheaval that can throw us into even, you know, injuries and accidents if we're not flowing and being conscious and aware. So this tool might be able to help with this whole process. And if I don't post it, you know, just send me an email. I'm sure I will. It's just you're all people that have sessions with me, so of course I will. And you can modify it in a way that makes sense, and I mentioned that. So yeah, that's kind of what the week looks like. Thursday we have Sun opposite Mars. That can create sort of this back and forth between wanting to move forward, and if we feel thwarted, we might go back on that Mars energy, which can be very aggressive. So again, we want to be very careful with the Mars energy. I've been feeling it a lot lately. It's been really intense. So yeah, just read through it if you need to vent on the page, if you want to share. If you're able to get in to a 10-minute session, we can see how it's personally impacting your planets. And I'm even willing to address what's going on in your chart on that page, on the Facebook page. I can quickly look at your profile and answer, you know, a question if you can't get in and you're feeling a panic. And if I don't see your notification or I don't answer, again, send me an email and put subscriber in your subject so I know it's you. So the Friday with the lunar eclipse, Venus is going to be trine Pluto, which is going to be very helpful. That is going to deepen us, actually, and really help to bring us into sort of, you know, our deepest heart space. It's going to impact our relationships and our personal life big time. That's what the eclipses do. So this could be a very deepening, bonding thing. And if you find somebody's kind of distance and you're feeling that surge because they don't have those kind of aspects naturally in their chart anyway, and they tend to be an avoider, that might be where that Mars energy comes in. But I would expect that relationships will be highly deepened. And yeah, the following day and through the weekend, we're going to have the Sun conjunct the North Node. And that's actually going to be really, really helpful after the eclipse, because it's going to be like a compass pointing us towards our destiny. So everything that's getting shaken up is really helping our compass point towards the best direction that we can go in. So this actually looks like it's going to be a really powerful time, because if it lasts for 6 months and we get our compass orientated in the right direction, I think we're going to feel like everything's much more on track than it's been in a while, because I think it's been pretty darn chaotic for a long time. So really expect the best results. Don't expect it to be smooth. Expect to have yourself liberated from limiting beliefs, things that you're attached to. Expect to purge. Expect to have breakdowns and breakthroughs. And anyway, I hope this was helpful. And again, you know, you can go to the page, set up a 10-minute session. And, you know, really pay attention to those dates though, and be very careful about what you choose to do with your day. Find some outlet in nature, get some exercise, be careful of who you're hanging around. Try not to be around people that normally trigger you. Set sacred space aside for loved ones and family, so that, you know, everything's more grounded than just kind of trying to create conversation when everything might be a little bit hectic and people might be busy or distracted. And it's like, what does that mean? Why are they distracted? You know, just know that our sensitivity levels are going to be at an all-time high. So take deep breaths, meditate in the morning, meditate at night. Just take really good care of yourselves. Eat good food, nurture yourself, really give to yourself. And I'll be right there with you, sending lots of love to all of you. Have a great week.